Yo, this is MyhellofalifeTV. Today, I got Deontae Fungshwayy with me. What's up, baby? Man, good to have you come through, you know what I'm saying? I've been knowing you for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You're a real swaggy nigga, you know what I'm saying? So look, I want to ask you, let's get into it, man, about the CGM, you know what I'm saying? CGM LLC. Let us know what that's all about, man.
All right. CGM LLC, you hear me, is a collaborative opportunity that myself and a couple of my close friends put together. It's actually a fashion company / marketing company, curating company, merchandising company, combined all in one. I like to say it's a fashion-based marketing company. It's something that we put together to basically give people in the entrepreneur lane an opportunity to express themselves and monetize it in the merchandising world. So we deal with retail and fashion and vending and distribution, you know, as a whole. So CGM stands for the cloaked garment market, which is basically, we call it the cloaked garment market because we represent the unseen. It basically takes a lot of work for people to produce these clothing lines and these dope brands and these dope merchandise that y'all see these artists in these stores and boutiques carrying. So what my company does is we basically represent the work that you guys don't know that it takes for these items to get produced and, you know, for these events to get created. We basically chose to represent that work. So right now the name of the company is the Cloak Garment Market, and we just represent, you know, what people don't know about the industry when it comes to retail and fashion.
All right, can you give a quick example, just real quick? What would be something you say that people don't know about the retail and fashion?
Well, it's a lot that people don't know about retail and fashion, but something just off the top, I would say it takes a lot of man hours on foot to get the word out about brands and companies that are just starting. Right. A lot of brand owners and a lot of people that are that pay attention to the fashion industry, they think that it happens overnight, or they think that it happens with just doing one pop-up event or just, you know, having your brand in one specific store. But it really takes so much more than that. And I wish that was something that a lot of people understood when they think about jumping into the industry, because it seems like it's becoming more of a trend, right, to, you know, own your own brand and merchandise yourself as an artist. And it's a difference between merchandising yourself as an artist and owning a fashion brand. You dig? And a lot of people don't know that as well. So I think that would be two things that I think people, you know, would need to know. You dig? Like, it's something that you have to put man hours in. When I say man hours, I mean having conversations like these with people 24/7. I mean, it's a work. You're never off the clock when you're dealing with, you know, fashion and retail, and as far as business-wise. You could have a meeting in a bar, you could have a meeting in the hotel lobby, you could have a meeting anywhere. You dig? So that's really some of the things that it takes, building relationships and spending that time on the ground before you can actually produce a brand that's gonna last. You dig? And that's something that people need to know before they take that first step, because a lot of people are in a position to take that first step, and they do take that first step, which is awesome, but they don't have that knowledge that, okay, after you went and made your 500 shirts, that you have to go shake hands and introduce yourself to people and get in the streets and get on the ground. So that's something that people should know, you know, right off the top. And they also should know that it's a difference in merchandising yourself as an artist and actually owning a fashion brand. So that's like two things off the top that's mandatory for you to know.
Right, because it seems like a lot of artists trying to attach themselves to a clothing brand, especially these days, right? Right. Why do you think that is? Why do you think hip hop and streetwear go just hand in hand, basically?
I definitely agree with that statement. Hip hop and fashion has always went hand in hand as far as back as we can remember. And I think that the people who do it genuinely, and the people who pay homage, and the people who know the information behind the music and behind the fashion that put it together properly, those are the people that are like the pioneers that are going to be able to continue to balance music and fashion. But some brands are oversaturated with music and they lose the sight of the fact that you're supposed to be selling merchandise and company, clothes for your customers. And they get so wrapped up in the lights and the fame of having those artists being around the brand, they forget that it's an actual brand. So me personally, I like brands that stick to retail and giving the customers what they want as far as the product. But I also respect brands that use hip-hop artists for product placement. Product placement is one of the most important things in merchandise and retail fashion industry. You got to be able to have the right people to co-sign the brand. Some of the most famous brands that we know about, starting with FUBU all the way down to the Diamond Supplies and the Bapes and the Black Scales, their biggest the biggest things we remember about those brands is when they worked and did collaborations with those hip-hop artists. Right. So it's mandatory to be able to balance both, but I just always try to put myself around brands that focus on giving the customers what they really want, and that's the actual product. That's the actual hat, that's the actual shirt that they purchase, and that's gonna last for a long time. They're already gonna be connected to the music. But as far as spending their money on it, when people merchandise and spending their money, you want to get them exactly what they're coming from. You want to be consistent.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about that, since you mentioned Diamond Supply. You was telling me that you had a history of working with them before. Yeah. How did that come about? You know what I'm saying? And just let the people know a little bit of history on you.
Okay. Well, a little bit of history on me as far as in the fashion world. I was always interested in fashion my whole life. My mother was a model. Her mother made all of her clothes all through her life, even all the way through high school. Mm-hmm. My mother wore my grandmother's clothes that she made at the house.
That's dope.
So I grew up around that, and it rubbed off on me in the light that I wanted to be able to merchandise, that art of being able to create something that you can wear. And I started, like most kids, collecting tennis shoes, collecting Nikes. I was a Nike head growing up. Yeah. We from New Orleans, so we wear polo. I was a polo head growing up. Right. We used to take trips to the polo shops all out of town and cop exclusive polos. We used to do polo parties. We used to do Nike parties. Right. If you're from New Orleans and we're around the same age group, I'm sure you're familiar with us. Right. This is something that we've always been interested in. But maybe I would say, like, right after high school, I was getting into my first year in college, and they had us writing papers about, what we were interested in. I went to college for business management and communication. Shout out to Dillard University, DU. I didn't graduate, but I did my thing.
So good.
Yeah, I learned a lot. Some of my first papers I ever wrote were to Nike, and it was on the string of I wanted to be a shoe designer because I was into art, I was into graffiti. I was a TAV, New Orleans talented visual arts artist, in high school. So I tried to take my art and try to cross over into Nike. And I'm pretty positive that the teachers that we was working with at the time, they actually sent our letters to those companies. And Nike never got back with me. So initially I thought, well, maybe that's not the lane I needed to be going in. I'm dropping out of college and, never heard nothing back or whatever. It's kind of discouraging. Right. But in the midst of that, I was introduced to a brand out of Los Angeles that you know about, which is Diamond Supply, which at that time was one of the only brands of its kind crossing skateboarding culture and hip-hop culture and retail. So at that time, that company was working with another company called Next Chapter. Shout out to Robbie Ealer too, the owner of Next Chapter at the time. Next Chapter was a company very similar to the company that I own now. They were basically a distribution company working with all the top brands from the West Coast to New York. Right. So they were a collaborative collection of brands that needed brand reps all over the states. So in every major city, they had brand reps to carry these brands and introduce stores to the merchandise and try to put these brands where they need to be. So they reached out to me in my city. Right. Me being well known in the fashion industry, being well known in the streets for fashion and skateboarding. Shout out to my skaters. I'm a skateboarder as well. Right. So that brand, being a skater-owned, independent entrepreneur brand, also crossing with hip-hop, was a perfect opportunity for them to get a New Orleans aesthetic, which they didn't have at the time, coming straight from Fairfax was their first store.
Right.
You dig? So they were more of a Los Angeles, California, West Coast based brand that was looking to reach out to places like New Orleans, Miami, New York, and things like that. So they got with me. I did some brand representative work. I learned a lot. I put a lot of people on. I made Diamond Supply a very popular brand in my city. We did Diamond Supply parties. We did events. We did Houston Sneaker Summit. Shout out to Nicky Diamonds. We did Houston Sneaker Summit where Nicky Diamonds actually came to New Orleans himself and linked up with Bun B, the OG. Shout out to OG Bun B of UGK, RIP Pimp C, you hear me? The OG Bun actually came to our booth. We had a Diamond Supply booth specifically set up at Houston Sneaker Summit, which is the biggest sneaker event that happens in the South. If you've never been to Houston Sneaker Summit, you need to do that. If you're interested in fashion, sneakers, retail, Houston Sneaker Summit where it's at, because that's where that's track. That's the Houston Southern Third Coast retail track. You dig? And we linked up with Diamond Supply. They came down. Bun B did an interview at our booth. Shout out to Stoney. Shout out to Retro. We linked everything up, and that was, to me, one of the biggest things that Diamond ever did in the South. Still, to this day, they do a lot of business right there in Houston. It's very close to home. Houston and New Orleans always had a connection. We do our Third Coast thing. And, yeah, we put it together. So Diamond Supply was a big experience for me, but it just showed me the possibilities of what it is that we already was doing, and I was already focusing on here in New Orleans. It showed me the possibilities of being able to reach people like Bun B or Rick Ross, who did a whole Diamond Supply collaboration. All the other artists who have, Currency, shout out to Currency, Jet Life, all the big homies that did collaborations with Nicky Diamonds was on the strength of good product placement. So that's kind of what I like to do over here at CGM. I like to push product placement heavy, and I like to push business relationships heavy. You dig? That's one of the most important things I think people gotta have is relationships with the community and with the brand owners. You put them together, you gonna win.
Right. So look, this is my first time getting to ask a true skater this question. Right? All right. So when I was growing up, I would see. I'm 32. I made 32 this Saturday. I would see a couple people messing with the skateboards, but it wasn't a whole bunch, right? Then I'ma say, I can't remember the year, but it's been at least 10, 12 years. To me, it's been an explosion of skaters in New Orleans.
Right.
What do you contribute that to? What do you think that started?
In New Orleans specifically, and skateboarding culture, New Orleans has always had a very heavy skateboard culture. But as far as seeing it how you saw it, and I understand exactly what you mean, people actually start coming outside. They weren't afraid to say they were skaters. They were more forward with the skating. I think that came about, just to tie in with your question earlier, with the music. I believe that when skating and skate fashion became accepted in hip-hop, that's when people were more proud to say that they were skateboarders, or less, felt like they would have to deal with less slack.
Because I'm wearing these Vans.
Exactly.
I ain't never been on a skateboard in my life.
Exactly.
I got on it one time, I was 8 years old, busting my ass.
Right. And see, in the skate world, we would call you a poser because you don't skate and you wear skate fashion. But because I'm a product of hip hop, I completely understand why you had those Vans on. One, because they fresh. Shout out to the swag. One, because they fresh, and two, because they're comfortable.
Comfortable shit.
And the reason why they that comfortable, my G, is because Vans knows what I know. Vans knows that they care about the product, and the customer cares about the product. And they know how to tie in product placement to where it needs to be, and we just said where it needs to be in hip hop and music, because we create all the trends, music, and we run hip hop. I mean, hip hop runs music right now, even down to country music right now. If I've seen children currently buying cowboy hats and boots right now, because it's becoming trendy in music. And that's not country music, that's hip hop with a country vibe. And he balanced it, which was smart.
Little X,
right.
X9.
So that's basically what we try to do here at CGM. We try to balance all the different elements of the art and produce it in the fashion world because it's something tangible. It's something people can feel, something people can take home with them. Some people are always gonna remember. You dig? Everybody not gonna remember the song that you spit when you do your show. They might remember your energy. They might remember your name, but they might not always remember what you want them to remember. But if you're a hip hop artist and you have merchandise, and you have a merchandise table, when you finish rapping, you can send them to your merchandise table. They have something tangible that they can take home that's gonna remind them of that frequency that they felt while you was on the stage. You dig? So it's basically about mastering those elements and putting it into business, and that's basically what we do at CGM.
So again, my bad, because we kind of got off subject a little bit. So what do you say is why the skateboarding became so popular in New Orleans as far as people outside skateboarding looking at it?
I would have to say music. Once they
not nobody specific, not like a Currency or Lil Wayne or something. Sometimes hear people say Wayne.
I'm from New Orleans,
right?
So I have to give it up to my man Spitter first. Off GP, because if you from New Orleans and you know, after Spitter was done riding that tank and shooting people up over there at Cash Money and shit, my man was chilled out, revamped his style, and he was more into the skate culture and producing the skate culture through lyricism in his hip hop raps, and he was more into what they call hipster vibe. At the time, they was calling it hipster vibe or backpack rap. That was kind of the energy at the time that Spitter was giving us musically. With Fly Society, Independence Day was one of my favorite mixtapes ever. He mentioned Terry Kennedy, who was a professional black skater at the time from Long Beach, or from Compton, I believe, who was also coming to New Orleans all the time doing business with Spitter. So, although Wayne, I do give it up to Wayne for coming in the game and sticking with it, and he's still currently a skateboarder. But if we talking about a New Orleans perspective, I gotta give it up to Spitter first, because he was the first person to rap about DCs and Ollies, and he was the first person to shout out Phil, the owner of Humidity Skate Shop, and in his music. So if I had to say one specific person who influenced my city, besides myself, because I know I'm a major influence in New Orleans as far as skate coaching, putting the business together and actually living it. I would have to give it up to Spitter. I didn't say their name specifically because I said music, because it was a combination of everybody. Because if Spitter would have spit that shit and we didn't accept it, it wouldn't have happened. It was really about music generally, because they had other artists that accepted that shit too. They had other artists who rock with Spitter that we look up to, like, oh well, if Ross fucking with him, we fucking with him. You dig what I'm saying? We rocking with him. You dig? So that's just from my perspective. I would have to give it up.
Right. So look, that's like two questions I want to ask. I'm trying to see which one I want to go with next, right? Okay, because you said a lot that made a lot of sense to me, right? So I guess I'm gonna go with it. Okay, so there's definitely different forms of fashion, right? You got we'll consider streetwear. You got luxury brands, high end, to me, when I look around the scene in New Orleans, right, when you go to the second lines, or you at certain events and things like that, it seems like our fashion kind of all over the place right now, as well as we do have our own identity, from back in the day. So where do you feel like the fashion in New Orleans is? Is it just kind of like a free for all going on, or what you think?
That's a good question. That's a dope question. Right now in New Orleans, I think that it's a little bit of the element you touched on. It's almost like a free fall. You can literally wear what you want. It's more so about expressing your identity in New Orleans right now.
Right.
When people dress a certain way, they're trying to tell everyone else that's looking at them who they are. So we really in the expressive state right now. New Orleans has this way of following specific G codes based off what's trending, and we've always been like that. So when it was Dickies and Soldier Rides, it was Dickies and Soldier Rides. When it was G-Nikes every Friday, you was going to get G-Nikes every Friday. When it was Polo Day, you was wearing polos you know, we stayed within our own trends. But right now, I think that New Orleans has such a unique swag, and we know that we've been highlighted right now. We know that people watching us right now.
Right.
I think that it's more important that everybody got their own swag right now. Because I go to the second lines. I be uptown with the Indians, you know, watching, you know, peeping them out. So when I see people, it's not like how it was in 2008 when you had the Dickies with the J's that came out that week. You did, or you was poloed down with the, you know, with the G Nikes. You did. It was mandatory. We had, you know, we had small dress codes. You did.
Yeah, they look at you crazy if you ain't had on certain fit.
Right, exactly.
Like,
if you didn't have on something they could identify that was trending at the time, the nigga was ribbing you.
Yeah.
You did. So, but right now, I see people, like you said, it's a free fall. People come out the house wearing whatever they want.
Right.
Because right now, I feel like they just want to express who we are. You did. And New Orleans is so unique. Everybody got their own swag. So I actually think it's a better time for fashion right now.
Yeah. There's
like,
a lot of brands coming out of the city right now.
Yeah, definitely a lot. Shout out to all the brands coming out in New Orleans, dog. Like, keep doing what y'all doing, because we gonna go up. You dig? Like, I carry a nice amount of brands, usually about 5 to 8 brands at a time within my company that I represent. I do brand ambassador for, brand representation, I do design, I do merchandising, I do graphics, all of that. So I usually try to keep within 5 to 8 because it's a lot to juggle for one company. But the brands that I carry are mostly New Orleans owned, and if they're not New Orleans owned, they're either black owned or completely independent.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So my company is not about more so just my company. That's why it's kind of confusing when people ask me, what is it that you do? Or what is it that you represent? Well, I represent myself because I own the company. Right. But I also represent the movement of everybody, each brand that I carry. You dig? And I represent the movement of fashion and retail. You dig? Currently. Right. So that's pretty much the whole.
Right. Well, you led me right into the next question because you said a lot going into that point, right? Okay, so I definitely pay attention that you definitely represent a lot of the things that's pro-black and black-owned, which I think is dope as hell. I love the fact also, like you say, you have a musical background, so you know about artists, like you say, attached to fashion, right? So when I think about those two aspects, and now I'm gonna throw in the third aspect I've been noticing as far as fashion, okay? The gang culture, right? Bloods, Crips, or whatever you may be. That is huge in fashion to me. You know what I'm saying? I think I saw like some Wrangler pants came out that have the red patch on the right, the blue patch on the left, all of that, right? Somebody like, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey was able to bridge the gap. Right. You know, everybody knew he was crippin'. Right. You know what I'm saying? But everybody wearing Crenshaw shirts, made them in all different colors, all that. You know what I'm saying? So can you just a little bit speak on that and just how, like you say, music, streetwear, street life, just all of that, how it blend to, I mean, like you say, gang banging is a fashion. Right. It's a fashion now.
Well, fashion.
We know that it's also something serious.
Right.
But a lot of people made it into the fashion. You know what I'm saying? Just wearing it.
Well, this is the thing. So, like, the same way, that's a very good question, dog. First, I'm going to say that's a dope question. Secondly, I'm going to say rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. Yeah. That was heavy. You know, that was something that weighed heavy on me based off my knowledge of gang culture. You know what I'm saying? My knowledge of fashion and streetwear and just streets, period. So, I guess I would say in response to that the same way I could explain that music and fashion has always been intertwined. There was never a time when fashion didn't matter to the MC on the mic. So whoever you want to say was the first MC, Grandmaster Flash or Rakim or whoever they all had custom outfits.
Right.
So hip hop has always been a part of fashion. Right. So I say that to say, in response to your question, with gang culture and fashion now in 2019, it's definitely something that you can see is becoming a trend again, but it's not the first time we've seen it.
Right.
Because if you know what gang culture comes from, you looking at a time period when black people were fighting for safety in their neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So within that time period, you looking at maybe, let's say, late 60s, early 70s, and beyond. So during those times, fashion was a part of what they was doing. Music was a part of what they was doing. There was never a time when, from what I know and from what I understand, there was never a time when what you were wearing didn't matter.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
It's deep, but yeah, I got you.
and that's what I'm, from a tribal standpoint. You dig what I'm saying? So like, I look at gang culture as something that's tribal as well. You dig what I'm saying? That's about where you from, your affiliations, the people you attach to, your bloodline and stuff, right? So from my perspective, it's the same as representing yourself in fashion. If you're connected to a gang culture, you're gonna represent yourself through fashion in the same manner. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
So if, like a Nipsey Hussle, if you understand gang culture, it's no question if you see Nipsey Hussle wearing a blue hat, because he's expressing himself. You dig what I'm saying? Which is the basis of what gang culture started with, protecting yourself and having to show people and let people know who you were while you were protecting yourself. That's how fashion got tied into it.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? Because they had to identify what tribe they were representing. You dig? So if you look at it from a tribal standpoint, we've always had to wear something to represent who we were. You dig what I'm saying? When you look at Zulu tribe don't look like Buntu tribe.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the only reason we can look at our own people and tell the difference is because what we wore, what we decided to express ourselves with.
Right.
That's why the garment is such an important thing.
Right.
Because you're not just wearing clothes, you're expressing yourself for that moment at that time as to who you are or how you feel at the moment. Just like, for example, and I guess you could, I'm not trying to get too far away from the question, but if you understand street culture, when people do crime, they usually wear black.
Yeah.
It's aside from the part that it's harder for you to see them at night, which is fashion-based thought process as well.
Right.
But it's black gives you a certain feeling when you wear all black. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I think it's just about knowing that and knowing what you gonna do when you get dressed every day. You dig what I'm saying? Fashion and gang culture has always been tied together. Fashion and hip hop has always been tied together. Fashion and black people, period, have always been tied together. And we pretty much run the industry as far as entertainment.
Right.
You dig? So when it comes down to understanding entertainment, fashion is pretty much one of those things that you can't separate fashion and entertainment and be successful.
Right.
How many people do we know that are successful that came on camera not dressed properly, not dressed to express,
Right.
not even dressed to impress, but dressed to express?
Yeah, that's deep.
Everybody have to do that if you
dropping
want to.
jewels,
If you
man.
want to be on, I drop jewels from time to time. I
Just
be
to
real
express.
tough.
I like that shit.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think that's really the full explanation and understanding of as far as gang culture. There's people dressing to express themselves. So if I'm from this hood or this set, I'm gonna buy these specific clothing items that I know I can express myself, and you don't have to ask who I am.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? And it's the same way with hip hop. When you walk around with your Malcolm X T-shirt, you dig? You expressing your thought process. You're expressing who you are or what you feel.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Some people just wear clothes, and I get that too. For some people, clothes is just clothes, and that's cool. You dig? But you can't monetize that thought process. And my business is about monetizing everything we just talked about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Being able to merchandise everything we just talked about.
Right.
So we take everything that we talked about just now, and we figure out how to present it to our audience to where they will want to pay to get that vibe from us. You know what I'm saying? And we always try to make sure we we give them more than what they pay for. You dig? Not just the product, but the vibe and the meaning and the understanding and you are part of the culture, you are part of the brand. Like most of my brands, when you purchase things from them, you become a part of the brand.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
So that helps with expression because you only gonna buy with what you want to express yourself as. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Well, look, you've been rocking with me, right? The last 2 questions he said, that was good questions. I think I got one more, like one good one. All right, so look. Okay, so you're saying it's about monetizing, right? Making money.
Right.
But it's also about, for true people who into fashion, it's about the love you have for it.
Right.
It's about the culture. You really want to see the culture grow.
Right.
Especially here in New Orleans. You want to see the New Orleans brands grow.
Right.
Black-owned brands grow, right? Can you tell me the good and the bad of pop-up shops? Is pop-up shops hurting the culture because you got people who just gonna make a shirt today and just say, I'm popping up a shop on Sunday, and they don't have no love for the shit.
Right.
They just like, I'm about to make some money.
Right.
And they be in the same place as somebody who really
got love for it.
Yeah.
Right.
What you think of that?
I think it happens, but it's not something we can control.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's up to the customers to know the difference between that bullshit and what's really real.
Right.
You dig?
Right.
So we put a lot of weight on our customers when it comes to that.
Right.
So it's really on us. If we consumers as well. Like I'm an owner, but I'm also into fashion. So I spend my money that I'm out here hustling for on fashion because I love to look good. You dig? This is what we do. Like, so with that being said, it's like it's up to you. It's up to the customer base. What are you spending your money on? Do you support the brands that you wearing? Do the brands you wearing support you? That's what it boils down to. You dig? So it's really, to me, it's like the people who spend money on them brands that you know that's not for us. You know they done made examples out of us. They done blatantly verbalized, oh, these brands are for these specific people. Yeah. We so into fashion, we're so into expressing ourselves and being able to let people know that we're wealthy and we're doing good. We'll still spend our money on them brands for them people who have openly said that they don't rock with our specific culture or our specific people.
Right.
So if we can switch our mind into, man, let's spend money on these brands that support us and that's rocking with us or that's representing what we represent, we'll have, a little bit more control of our dollar. You dig? But you can't control what people gonna like. You dig? And a lot of that goes with trends and culture and music. You dig? If a lot of musicians are saying this brand is a GOAT, you're gonna spend money on that brand. You dig? But that's how powerful we are, because that's our music. So it's like we gotta be in control of what we spending our money on. That's really what it boils down to. Like, does the customer know, what they spending their money on?
Exactly. So look, Fungshwayy, we talking fashion, but we also talking music, because they go hand in hand.
Right.
So in your opinion, you know what I'm saying, putting you on the spot, it don't have to be nobody that you look at as the one, but who do you think of some people in hip hop right now that is like they fashion kind of dictating how others decide to dress?
That is a
good question. I told you I got good questions.
Give me
He gonna ask me.
That was
a
good
question. You got your questions ready? Come on, man.
That was a good question. All right. Hold on. Reiterate that one more time. Ask me.
All right. Who do you think are some of the people that's at the top of dictating what most are wearing now in fashion, in hip hop?
Well, I have to say, just off the top, and I'm not even a fan of his specific style, but I know for sure Kanye West, just off the top.
Yeah.
So I know you saw so many people dressed for Doomsday when Kanye was dropping his merchandise, ready. You dig? So people follow his wave. I know it's a trend. They like his shoes. I'm not really a big fan of the new Zoom style, the Boost, whatever. I understand why they rock with it, but then, like we said, it's music. So I would say Kanye is a leader in fashion right now. I would have to say in the South, I definitely got to give it up to Sauce Walker.
Yeah.
Sauce Walker is definitely.
Yeah, see, a lot of people in New Orleans don't know about that sauce.
Yeah, that's
drip.
See,
Niggas
in New Orleans know about the drip, but they don't know where the drip comes from.
Yeah.
So shout out to the TSF team.
Yeah.
They was the first to do to really get it dripping and really make that a wave in the South. I do a lot of business, out there in Houston, and every time I'm in Houston, them boys show love. Yeah. They're either copping merch, or they wearing the merch, or they at the event, showing love. Shout out to DJ Stone over at Onyx. The Houston, the whole state of Texas actually, because South by Southwest is in Austin.
Right.
So I gotta give it up to Texas for holding it down in the South, and as far as fashion. So Sauce Walker definitely he on my list. I ain't gonna get too deep into that, but he definitely on the list for fashion.
What you think about the Migos? Some Quavo just about to come out with some collabs.
Well,
some clothes.
I don't know too much about Migos and Quavo and them. I know they heavy with jewelry. I know I would give it up to them because fashion jewelry is fashion as well. So I'm gonna tip my hat to them boys with the jewelry. They definitely made people want to step it up. They definitely made people want to step it up with the jewelry. As far as fashion, I would consider them more of high-end fashion. Right. So they made people want to perspire to get money to be able to afford that high-end fashion, which is cool too. But that's not who I was thinking of right off the top. Maybe a Currency, because I believe that he made people pay attention to the streetwear brands, and especially the movement of streetwear brands. And he's also somebody that I could say is one of those artists that made people or help people be comfortable sneakerheads. And sneakers is a big part of fashion. So by him doing multiple collabs with Reebok, and rapping about specific releases in his music, he pushes that culture. So I had to give it up to Spitter in the fashion world as well. I ain't gonna lie to you, G. It's not too many people
look, I ain't heard
see
you
out
mention the women fashion, man.
Females.
You pay attention to some
females
of
and
the
fashion.
females who dripping. Got a little swag to them.
Karuchi.
Yeah.
I've been known. I've been told that she's a boss in the fashion world. Low key does a lot of stuff, behind the scenes and stuff. Yeah. Females in fashion. That's a good one. Streetwear. They have a female DJ in Houston named DJ Shantae. She's heavy in the streetwear fashion. She does her thing. I'm not sure. I don't want to quote the wrong radio station, but look up DJ Shantae. She's a dope female that's heavy into the streetwear fashion. She stay fresh. Women that's dope with the fashion. I can't really. It's a couple Instagram females that I follow and they do their thing, but I don't have no business with them specifically.
Well, let me ask you this: what's one of the trends from female fashion right now that you dig it? That you like, yo, that's fly.
Oh, okay.
That's hot.
A female trend that I dig. A trend that something I like to see females do in fashion on a street tip.
Yeah.
I like females that do the overalls, man. Yeah, I like the big clothes, like the vintage look. I like women that's can wear the baggy overalls or the baggy jersey, and cut off the jersey, the Tommy Hill figure. Yeah, I'm a vintage. I like the vintage look. Like one of my favorite female entertainers, because of her style specifically, was Aaliyah.
Yeah.
And if you go back and you watch how Aaliyah used to move, she usually was wearing male clothes or oversized clothes, but she knew how to make it sexy. It was about the balance. And that's something that I dig. So the women that's out there shopping at them thrift stores, shopping at the vintage booths, that's what's up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So Fungshwayy, man, before we get out of here, let everybody know, you know what I'm saying, what's some of the moves that you want to reveal that you got coming for the rest of the year? What's some goals you got, the rest of 2019, man? What can they expect?
Man, 2019, we focused. We working all year, but we focused. So I'm gonna give it to y'all like this. It's spring right now. CGM, the clothes garment market, y'all stick with us all through the summer because it's gonna be a hot summer. We got Black Summer ENT. We got the Art Garage. We got the Alley concept. You gotta pull up on me at the Alley this weekend,
it's my
brother.
birthday, man. This Saturday, I'm in there.
We got the Alley, Teddy, go Teddy, go. We got the Alley, we got Sanger Theater, Joy Theater, we got House of Blues, we got a dope show at the House of Blues every month. Shout out to Homegrown, shout out to my brother Sly. What else we got, G? Just look for us, brother. CGM, we everywhere. We at the Howlin' Wolf, shout out to Nutty Piper. We should be doing Devin the Dude in a few days, actually. So Devin the Dude should be down, probably be at the Howlin' Wolf. We everywhere. If you in New Orleans and you in the street scene, we'll be definitely curating the event somewhere where you be at. So make sure you come holler at us at the vending table. It's gonna be love. We're gonna have some dope merch for you. We might have an album or two. Shout out to the Raging Rebels. We just did the Treme Festival 2 days ago. So we just did the Red Cup Festival. We'll be doing NOLA Reggae Fest again in a few days. So I'm telling you, just stay with us.
Working.
Yeah, just stay with us.
Hey, man, go ahead and let them know how they can stay in touch with you. Drop that Instagram. Man,
Instagram at Fungshwayy Duce Trey. That's FUNGSHWAYY_DUC3_TR3Y. And our hashtag handle is Streetwear Dope Dealers. And yeah, man, get at me. Look, any business you want to put together, any collaborations, we can put it together. We can make it happen, dog. We in New Orleans, we in Houston, we in Atlanta, we in Vegas. Shout out to my brother Duce. So let me know if you're in the United States. We overseas. We got business in Japan. We just got business over there in France. Be looking out for Fargo. Be looking out for Fargo, my G. The Fargo brand. It's the French connection. New Orleans and France got something major coming, dog. Y'all wait on that. It's gonna be something lit. We gonna put it all together properly. I ain't gonna speak too much on it till it's go time. But y'all look for me, man. Shout out to my dude, My Hell of a Life, man. This is a wave. Believe that.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. It's all love.